Shit, I forgot where we were.
You're listening to Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong.
Welcome to episode 181 of the Let Me Tell You Why You're Wrong podcast. I'm Dave Roberts. If you're expecting my beautiful, smart co-host, not this week. Unfortunately, we have Matt Lowe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to leave. That's disgusting.
I am beautiful, and I'm smart. Though, to be fair, I'm not as beautiful and as smart as Jessica. So, there's that.
No, Jessica is being detained this week. Apparently, Van Johnson and Savannah caught wind of some of the stuff we said about him on the show, and she happened to cross the border into Savannah, and he's holding her. He hasn't charged her yet, so we don't really have any arraignment yet or a booking photo, but as soon as we have it, we'll post it up.
Hell yeah, we will.
Matt, how have you been?
I've been good. How have you been, Dave?
Man, it's been a hell of a week.
So, I don't know what it is. I think, so you're kind of in the construction field, the same way that I am. And like everybody that I know, it's just been one of those weeks that only folks in the construction industry understand. It's
a scramble to find materials. It's one of those things where I can get you something, but I can't get you anything.
Right.
So the stuff where my stuff's not working, or my HVAC is not working, but we want to go 20 SEER, with variable speed compressors and stuff like that. Like, no. But what I can offer you is this at a good price, and I can get it done quickly. If you want to hold out, and it's. Look, all those computer boards are sitting on ships off the coast of California waiting to be offloaded because we've paid longshoremen and truckers to stay the hell home.
Right. So, like with me, I deal in the metals side of things where I'm legitimately dealing with aluminum and steel and stainless.
I thought you were talking like Danzig.
No,
the metal side of things,
right. But, like, I'm seeing prices for regular carbon steel, just regular, it'll rust steel that are on par with stainless prices from this time last year.
Oh, yeah. Look, I've already got my second 10% price increase from my suppliers this year.
Right.
And they're saying there's going to be another one coming.
Yeah. No, so right now, I can buy aluminum cheaper than I can buy carbon steel.
The world's upside down right now. It's absolutely upside down. And you are more tied directly into the commodities market than I am. I'm more related to commodities. Obviously, copper goes into air conditioners, aluminum goes into air conditioners, silicone goes into the boards. Obviously, steel goes into the casings and all that stuff. But you're tied directly in commodities because you're buying commodities. You're making steel cable handrails, stainless stuff, and things like that. You are 100% tied into commodities. And you may give somebody a price at 8 a.m. and say it's good till 10.
Yeah. No, I seriously, so my suppliers give me prices that are good till the end of the day. And then my general contractors are asking for prices that are good for 60 days.
Oh, yeah. I know kidding. Get phone calls from usually from contractors. Homeowners know this stuff, man. They've been to Home Depot. They've seen the price of lumber. But I'll get like, oh, man, 2 years ago, you were doing new houses for this much per ton. I'm like, yeah. How much were houses 2 years ago?
Right.
The same square footage per square foot. How much were houses 2 years ago? Right. Air conditioning went up too.
Right.
So did the price of toilets.
Dude, my wife's a realtor. I mean, this time 2 years ago, she was doing a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom brick ranch house in a in a mediocre neighborhood for $200,000. Now she's doing a 2-bedroom, or sorry, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, ranch in a crap neighborhood for $275, and the house needs work, right?
And it's going to go for $325 because they're going to have to offer over asking.
Yeah. I mean, she'll list them at $265. They go for $279, and the buyer is like, there will be no inspection, there will be no requests for repairs, nothing.
The Lowe's get richer.
No, we're not rich, homie.
Not with 18 kids, you're not.
No. Hell no, we're not. I got college to pay for, and that goes up too.
Yeah, you're still drinking PBR.
Right? Mick Ultra, but whatever.
Hey, Michelob's high class.
Yeah, I know. I have a limit.
Well, speaking of drinking, we have a listener-suggested story of the week. It's strippers. Police officers in Florida dropped hundreds of dollars on drinks, cigarettes, and lap dances during an undercover operation at a strip club, but made no arrests.
Well, it sounds like everybody had a good time, so what's the problem?
Tampa Police Sergeant Daniel Rhodes was suspended for a day and removed from the department's street anti-crime squad following the internal probe into the January 2020 visit to the Gold Club.
Wait, now, hold on. Is that the same Gold Club that used to operate here in Atlanta?
I doubt it. I think it's a pretty common name. Gold Club, Gold Rush, Mouse's Ear, Dollhouse. All those names I think are repeated. Right.
No, I know like a minute ago, I'm like, oh, who cares? Obviously that was in jest because it's taxpayer money that they're using.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Now, look, the officers advised they spent $421 on the cover charge, drinks for themselves, drinks for the dancers, drinks for the dancers' friends, shots for the bartenders, a pack of cigarettes, cover charge for the lap dance area, and one lap dance each. Let me tell you something. That sounds like a damn bargain.
No shit. That sounds like they were there for like an hour.
No wonder they didn't get any intel. You're only dropping, there's like multiple people and you're dropping $421.
Right? Dude, so when I was like, I don't know, 19 years old, I dropped $900 on a Sunday night.
And that's B squad right there too.
Yeah, no. So Sunday, in the county that this particular strip club was in, you couldn't sell alcohol on Sundays. So I dropped that much money on a Sunday night on a stripper named Cartier with no booze.
Of course her name's Cartier. Was she working her way through law school or medical school?
Medical school. She's my PA now, but whatever.
Boop. Dr. Cartier to emergency. Dr. Cartier to emergency. As she buttons back up her lab coat.
Right.
Now, look, we've all seen Miami Vice.
Right.
And, you know, it looks really cool to be Crockett and Tubbs riding around in a Ferrari, going to strip clubs and dropping big stacks of cash. You know, they were investigating several things, part of it being narcotics and prostitution. If you're dropping $400 in a strip club, you're not going to be offered prostitution.
Right.
I'm not speaking from experience here, but I'm just saying, we were talking about inflation, you know, earlier. $421 that doesn't inspire a girl to say, hey, listen, I'm going to put my freedom at risk. You put another zero on the end of it, maybe you get some offers. And if you're only dropping $400, you can't afford Coke.
Right.
So why even offer it?
So like I hung out at a real sleazy strip club up off Roswell Road at one point. I don't know, 30 years ago. No, well, not quite 30 years ago, 25 years ago. And to to get into the sleazy side of things, it was $350.
Yeah, adjusted for inflation, that's $1,000.
Right.
So I don't know if their intel was bad or they just really suck at their jobs. Or do they just walk in with $400 and go, "Excuse me, where can I buy some cocaine and get some prostitutes?"
Right. I need some hookers and blow, and I got $400. And everybody went, "Oh, we're going to take their money."
Yeah. Undercover cops did not receive any intelligence from a dancer at the club who had purportedly ties to a shooting suspect in Tampa's Ybor City section. So really, $400 didn't get her to say, "I know who shot Boo."
Right.
Here's the thing. It's a waste of taxpayer funds, or they didn't spend enough taxpayer funds to get the intel. So either they were there to have a good time and spent $400. Again, this is the elitist stuff. You know, you and I are both now elitists coming out here.
Wait, whoa. I'm an elitist now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if we're both saying multiple people, including buying drinks for strippers' friends, and one lap dance each. What do they get tickets at the door for one lap dance? Like this is a church picnic?
I need to bask in this moment for a minute, Dave.
Oh, I've converted you. You're an elitist.
I'm elitist now.
You know you are.
I know.
You went from being poor white trash, a cop's kid, to an elitist.
Right.
Of course, you're thinking, yeah, my elitist has to climb up top of a tower to adjust a handrail because my guy's got it wrong. I get it. My elitist ass has to go into crawl spaces to fix what my guys didn't do right, too.
That's true. You want to hear my funny elitist story?
Go ahead.
So my daughter is a senior in high school, and her class this year, she only has like one class because, listen to this, she could have taken a summer school class, and graduated. Been done a whole year early. But she wanted to experience senior year for everything that it is. So her first class of her first day, they played that game, Two Lies and a Truth. This is where my elitist thing comes out.
That's not the game I was playing as a senior in high school, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I wasn't playing that game either. Her three things were: I work at Chick-fil-A, I drive a BMW, and I have 7 siblings. Or no, sorry, I am one of 7 siblings. You want to guess which one the folks thought was the lie?
The BMW?
No.
The seven siblings?
Working at Chick-fil-A.
Ah, and she does at that.
She works, like, all of them were truth.
You know, yeah, she ran across my truck the other day.
Did she?
Yeah, I called you. I was like, because I thought you were sitting at the pool while your daughter was out there sweating, running bags of food out to the Uber drivers, which would have been awesome.
Right? Oh, yeah, would have. She didn't understand.
No, your eldest daughter is an absolute sweetheart and great kid. You guys are very lucky with that one.
No, we totally are, and we're lucky with our very oldest.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, yeah, he's a smart kid. He went in the Air Force. He's not dumb like you and me.
Right, right.
Matt and I went in the Army.
Let's go to the Army. Durr.
Yeah, I mean, one step above the Marines.
Right.
You're like, oh, you scored too high for the Marines. Here's the Army. Can I go to the Air Force? No, son. No.
Nope, not high enough.
We're not going to let you work on jets, but here's a machine gun.
Right. Shoot that way.
Okay, so back on the story, tips had previously been received that dancers were selling Sex the Club from June through December 2019, leading to the undercover operation, according to an internal affairs report. First of all, who is this news to? Like, who's this news to that? I'm not saying every stripper is a hooker, but every strip club has a few hookers.
So, like, I have this idea that, right, not every stripper is a hooker, but they can be bought, clearly.
Well, I think I told you this one. This is from a close family friend. I call him Uncle because he's, I was born the same time as their kid. He says, so I was sitting in a bar next to a young lady, and at the time, he was in his 60s. He says, so I said, how about $1,000 for one night? She goes, no, ew. It's about $5,000. She goes, no. He goes, $10,000 one night. She goes, 10,000. He goes, now that we've established what you are, we're haggling over price. So back on the original trail.
Right.
Either these officers were lying and just using taxpayer funds to have a good time. And I don't know what kind of good time you have in $421, or their budget was too low to actually get any intel. Like, one guy going in there with $1,000 could do better than three guys walking in with $421. Each of us got a lap dance. What? That's not. Look, I don't frequent those clubs, but it's not. If you're punching tickets for lap dances, that's not the guy that the girls who are selling blow are going to gravitate towards.
Right.
They're looking for the guy who is a little bit drunk, maybe a little high, who's throwing money around, who's throwing $300 at the girl on the stage.
Right.
That's the guy they're like, okay, that's the one I'm going to sell blow to. But speaking of boobs, councilwoman Victoria Martinez Muela accepted financial assistance from a lobbyist to help pay for her breast augmentation. The lobbyist, Sigrid Lopez, said in a sworn declaration that she paid $1,100 to Pasadena, I can't talk, cosmetic surgery in late 2016 to help cover the cost of the procedure. She got in trouble for was not disclosing it on her campaign finance.
Right.
So the crux of the story is not the fact that a lobbyist kicked in, but the fact that she didn't disclose the gift.
Right.
And we both know $1,100 is a drop in the bucket on the jugs, or drop in the jugs.
Right. Yeah. I mean, anybody that knows me personally knows that my wife just had a full mommy makeover, and $1,100 is nothing. I mean, it was 23 grand.
It was like $1,100 wouldn't even get me in the room.
Right. Yeah. I mean, $1,100 would get you a sneak peek at some decent cleavage when it's all said and done.
Well, I got that anyway.
Right. Well, I mean, on Mondays, but.
But the thing, look, as far as political bribes go, $1,100 is not a bribe.
Right.
Allegedly, this lobbyist is a friend of this council person, and it was one of those things where she was $1,100 short, and she didn't want to have 1 3/4 boobs. So she's like, okay, well, I'll kick in the $1,100. You pay me back when you can, whatever. But this comes up now because they're going after her for something else. And this is an area in LA County. But it's funny that this has always been out there, but it's only coming up 5 years later because they're going after her for something else. So it's sort of like the city council kept this in their back pocket.
Right.
I did see a picture of her. I mean, she did go bigger is better. The most misogynistic, let me tell you why you're wrong yet.
I mean, look, if you're going to do it right.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's fine. Look, she should get in trouble with Ethics Commission for not disclosing. Absolutely. Do I think she should be run out of office? I mean, I don't know. You hit her with an ethics fine and all that stuff. I don't, as far as qualifying as a bribe, it sure was above, like out in the open for it to be a bribe.
Right.
Like bribes are done. Let's just ask Jim Beck in McDonald's bags full of cash.
Right. That's a bribe.
Yeah, not your friend writing a check to your cosmetic surgeon for the last $1,100 towards your, I'm guessing, $10,000-$15,000 surgery. So that sort of it sort of seems like political theater on that. I don't know what her politics are, and I don't know what the internal politics of this particular municipality are. But it sure does seem like they kept this in their back pocket until they wanted to go after her.
Right.
And it's, like I said, again, this goes back to being an elitist. $1,100 is not a bribe. You cannot buy me for $1,100.
Right.
You need to add a couple zeros to that, Oz.
Yeah, I mean, if you're forking out, $20,000 for a surgery, that's like purely cosmetic, which means your insurance isn't covering it. You're doing every bit of it on your own. $1,100, I agree.
Yeah, if you told me that Martha was $1,100 short on her surgery, like, hey man, I'll loan you $1,100. Not a big deal.
Right. Yeah, that's like $1,100 to me is something that you could approach a friend for. Hey man, I need $1,100. Like if you called me and said, "Hey, I need $1,100," I'd be like, "Okay," and I wouldn't even ask you what it's for.
The strip club in Tampa.
I'm whatever. I realize you're an AC guy, and that's probably a bad bet, but whatever.
No, you'd be like, let's get $2,200 and I'll come with you.
Yeah, no doubt. 30.
So we have,
and we'll make it a good weekend.
Stay in a hotel close to the club.
Right.
I'm sorry, that's not a hotel. It's be close to that club. It'd be a motel.
Yeah. Yeah, the kind you enter from the outside.
Yeah, I was supposed to say, enter from the street. So Missouri governor pardoned gun-waving St. Louis couple, Mike and Patricia McCluskey, pleaded guilty in June to pointing guns at demonstrators following the killing of George Floyd. And we're all very familiar with the striped shirt pointing, looks like a little Walther PPK or something, and the pink polo tucked into the khakis, both barefoot. He's holding an AR. Actually, a classic A2 AR with no optic and iron sights, so respect. The governor pardoned him.
Good.
Absolutely. I don't look. At no point did I see them actually point at those quote unquote protesters were trespassing.
So, that was kind of my thing about it. Is they were wanting to crucify them based on their ability to handle their specific firearms. I'm down with that, right? But that's an internal argument within the gun community, right? Like
no, absolutely, yeah.
Y'all suck at the way that you did this,
right?
But had I been so we're at myself and my wife in our subdivision dealing with the same scenario. right? The gun handling would have been different.
Well, no, if it were here, it would have been me out front, my wife in the house with hers,
right,
as a fallback.
Yeah. No, totally. She would have been out front. You would have seen, or she would have been inside. You would have seen me out front. You would have seen much better, gun handling capabilities.
But you're not a weenie lawyer wearing a pink polo.
Right. No, I mean, I'm military trained. And in addition to that, I've taken hundreds of hours of additional training with firearms, post military service. So,
and you would have had more than one mag on you.
Oh, hell yeah. I'd had more than one gun on me too, but whatever.
Oh, that had been staged in my house, and I don't have anything anywhere near the McCluskey's house. I mean, there'd have been fallback positions if I had to ditch the AR to get back to.
Oh yeah, I mean, look. So for anybody listening, if you want to come to my house, at no point in my house am I further than 6 feet from a loaded firearm.
No, absolutely.
Ever.
No, if my pants are on and gun's on.
Right. Well, there's that. But I could be stark naked, standing in the middle of my living room. There's a loaded gun within 6 feet of where I stand.
And all your kids listening just gagged.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they did.
No, look. Yeah, the gun handling was awful. The first of all, her gun handling is just embarrassing. Her wrist is limp. Even if she got one shot off, she would have stovepiped because she's limp wristing the gun. Look, we're getting into the weeds with that. But the fact is, they did not commit any crime. They're lawyers. They knew they didn't commit any crimes. Right. In fact, I think there was an internal thing with the governor that said, "Go ahead and plead guilty. I'll pardon you."
Right. Yeah. But it's not against the law to have poor gun handling techniques.
No, it's not against the law to be an idiot either.
Right.
But
it's by our own governor, but whatever.
Yeah, but we're two guys who have taken training, who've been through military training, who slept with M16s. So it's a little different. But again, mad respect for not going totally tactical with like an ACOG and all that stuff. He had iron sights. Good for you. But then we have Cori Bush, who is a congresswoman, I believe, from Missouri, who lost her ever-loving mind about it. I mean, saying that they're going to get theirs, and then she goes off on this rant about defunding the police and about her personal protection. She basically says, "I need my personal protection because my body is important. Me being here is important because I'm doing important work. So it doesn't matter if I spend $200,000 or $210,000. My body is important because I'm doing important work. But yes, we need to defund police." Cori Bush lost. Look, we call balls and strikes on this show. She just wrote every Republican's ad for them for 2022.
Yes, she did.
First of all, she's nuttier than squirrel poop. But she just wrote, even the Democrats going, "Oh." Right. I mean, we just found the Democrats knew Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm just going to babble, make no sense in front of the camera.
Right.
Even the Democrats were going, "Oh, we don't really mean defund the police. We mean reimagine policing and reform." And they're trying to walk all this stuff back. And she's like, "No, defund. That money needs to go somewhere else." And I'm like, oh. But my $200,000 security is important because I'm important. But defund the police, the guys that protect you, yeah, we're going to defund them. Oh, right. And then say that the St. Louis couple that actually had the testicular fortitude to defend their own home, they're going to get theirs. Basically saying that we're going to go after you on the federal level. which she doesn't have the authority to do, especially after
she doesn't have the juice for that. She needs to shut up.
She doesn't have the juice. Even if she did have it, she lost it when she gave her whole diatribe about why she deserves $200,000 a year in security, and you don't.
Right.
Lord have, and look, you should, anybody should look up. I mean, it is, white on all four sides of her eyes, crazy. Like David Koresh crazy. Like Jim Jones crazy. But people in her district are just drinking that Kool-Aid.
Yep.
This is a good time to remind you that these are our opinions and not those of anyone not on this show, including Jessica, or any respective company for which we may work, own, or otherwise associate ourselves with on a regular or irregular basis. Also, you can find other episodes and relevant stories on thegeorgiavirtue.com. Well, Matt, the war on landlords continues, and the landlords are hitting back.
How are they hitting back?
A group of landlords and real estate companies issued a legal challenge on last Wednesday, in D.C. court to the Biden administration's new national eviction moratorium. The Alabama and Georgia Association of Realtors emergency motion argues the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention ordered Tuesday barring evictions for most of the U.S. Through October 3rd, which you just told me has been extended. You said to the end of the year, is a violation of their powers. Well, what part of disease is eviction?
So, man, this whole thing is so crazy to me. Like, you got, there's part of me that truly empathizes with folks that lost money because the company that they worked for shut down, right? But I don't know, the reports that were listed today say that the economy has bounced back and we're stronger now than we were pre-pandemic. So why the hell are you not at work?
Everybody is hiring.
Yeah, I'm hiring. Look, if you're even remotely capable of welding and finishing stainless steel, call me. I got a job for you, $25 an hour, right? That's like simple math. That's $50,000 a year. It's actually a little more because 2,080 times 50 is more, but $50,000 a year
to start.
I'll hire you right now.
And look
me up. Matt Lowe. I'm not hard to find. Google it. I ran for office. You've got my cell phone number.
And here's the thing, and I know you're not a big, cultural person. In the film Vacation, Cousin Eddie is Randy Quaid,
right?
And he's sort of the loser, right? And at some point they say, "Is Eddie still out of work?" And his wife goes, "Well, he's waiting for a management position, or he's holding out for a management position." And look, go drive Uber, go wait tables. Wendy's is offering like a $1,500 bonus. Wendy's,
right?
Can you not put together a Dave single?
Dude, I've done the math, right? Like legitimately done the math. The owner of my company, we've had this conversation. If they move to a $15 an hour minimum wage thing, right? At 78, 79 hours a week, I make more than enough with overtime and everything else to pay my bills and kind of live fairly close to the lifestyle that I live now, with nowhere near the amount of stress that I have now.
No dealing with contractors who call you at 7:00 in the morning wanting you to do stuff for free.
Right. Yeah. I don't like, you and I had a conversation earlier where like I literally got into a pissing contest with a contractor. I don't have to deal with any of that. At $15 an hour plus overtime, blah, 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 I can sweep a floor. Sweep a floor.
Drop fries.
Yep. I like it. Like there's no brain power used at all.
That means that store manager is making $25 or $30 an hour.
Right. So now
a Wendy's or McDonald's manager is making $50,000 a year.
Dude, they make that now. They like a quick trip manager starts at $40,000 a year.
Yeah, I don't want that job.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, they're open 24 hours. Yeah.
Right, yeah, no, it'd be night shift. But like my point is I deal with a lot of BS. And you understand it because you own your company. But I deal with a lot of BS on a daily basis that, frankly, to not have to deal with that might be worth $3 an hour to me.
Oh, Connie has that thought every day.
Oh yeah.
If she could just go be a teller.
I can go sweep a floor and it is mindless BS.
Yeah, if Connie could just go be a teller. Just go cash checks, show up at 8:30, take her lunch, leave at 5, and come home.
Yep.
Have nobody calling her at 5:30. Have nobody calling her on Saturday. Not have emails to answer when she's off on sick leave. Not answer emails when she's on vacation. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, dude. I would do it tomorrow. And my boss knows it. He straight said, if they move to some $15 an hour thing, I'm going to have to raise your pay because I understand the lure of not having to deal with any of it and making, what you can now.
Yeah, but your bonus structure is too good for that.
No, it is. But there's
don't anybody think that Matt Lowe is close to $15 an hour.
No.
First of all, he's not even close to 40 hours.
No, I work about 25, but whatever.
Every time I call you, hey, man, you at the office? Nah, I'm at home.
What are you doing?
But I'm working.
Driving home?
It's 3:00. But yeah, you're also leaving the house at 6.
Right. But I'm paid for I like to tell people often when we have this conversation, I am paid based on the amount of intellectual real estate that I own, and I own a lot of it.
Well, my grandfather said many years ago, the goal is to be paid for what you know, not what you do.
Right.
My father wrote a resume years and years ago, and he showed it to my grandfather. He goes, son, this looks like a resume for a mechanic. He goes, yeah. He goes, is that what you want to be? He goes, no. Well, then you need to rewrite this because this is all this technical stuff. This sounds like you're applying to be a mechanic. Because the goal is to get paid for what you know, not what you do. When I go out and I fix something in 5 minutes, it's not the 5 minutes it took me to fix it. It's not the price of the part. It's the 20 years I spent learning to spend only 5 minutes diagnosing and fixing it. Same thing with you. Is you're not paid by the hour to draw something up. It's the fact that you've spent 20 years learning how to draw out CAD and make that happen. And that's something that's lost in the minimum wage discussion too, is professionals aren't paid for time. You don't pay a stockbroker for his time. You pay him for his performance. Even when I was in banking, I didn't get paid for my time. All the time I spent in banking after I got out of the Army, I'd never punched a clock. I wasn't paid for my time. I was paid for my production. I was paid for my knowledge and my ability to get things done. That's the goal. But I don't understand this whole idea of I'm just helpless. I was a IT manager and my job went off to India, so I'm just going to sit around and wait for another IT job and collect unemployment. And now not pay my rent for 20 friggin' months.
Right. I
think we were talking about before the show. Basic math, stupid math, because I'm a simpleton. $1,000 a month, and we all know that average rent across this country is way more than $1,000. For 20 months is $20,000. If you didn't have 1,000 20 months ago, how in the hell do you have $20,000 now?
Dude, if rent was only $1,000, I'd be a renter.
Exactly. So double that, $40,000. And like you and I were talking before the show, how many people are dodging their rent knowing they can't be evicted, saving that money for a down payment on a house because interest rates are so low? There has to be a percentage of that that is gaming the system.
Yeah, I just refinanced my house for less than 2%.
Well, I told you I have a neighbor 2 doors down that sold his house, is renting the house across the street, waiting for the real estate bubble to pop. So he's going to take that money. He's going to pocket a good bit of money off of selling the house. And he's going to stick that in a savings account because he's been there long enough. It's exempt from capital gains. And stick that in an account. He's going to wait. His girl's going to be riding the same school bus to the same school. The only thing that's going to change is the number on his driver's license.
Right.
It's literally across the street. I watched him load up some stuff in his truck and drive 15 feet across the street and start unloading it. So I'm thinking if his house goes to somebody who's going to rent it out, I'm going to rent his house and sell mine.
My wife can help you out with that, Dave.
Ever the salesman, Matthew. Ever the salesman.
Right. Well, whatever can help me.
Anything that keeps her busy and out of your business.
Right.
So, Matt, we do have this week's cultural or race baiting. This is not on the outline. Study calls for end to rough fish, which is we call trash fish, pejorative, and a paradigm that created it. This is the idea. This is from University of California, Davis. From art to religion to land use, much of what is deemed valuable in the United States was shaped centuries ago by white male perspective. Fish, as it turns out, are no exception. A study explores how colonialist attitudes towards native fishes were rooted in elements of racism and sexism. It describes how those attitudes continue to shape fisheries management today, often to the detriment of native fishes.
That's totally crap. It's absolute horse.
So this is the idea that fisheries management protects species like largemouth bass, crappie, walleye.
You're in the South, dude. It's crappie.
Walleye, muskie, all these fish that we're accustomed to fishing for. And this is all freshwater, naturally, because obviously colonialists didn't spend a whole lot of time offshore with outboards. It ignored, I've never heard the term rough fish. I know you haven't either. We've always said trash fish, which is going to be your gar, carp, those types of fish.
Dude, in certain circles, largemouth bass would be considered a trash fish.
I'm not going to eat it.
No, they taste like dirt.
Well, they taste like the water they come from.
They call them mudfish for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I've had bass. I've eaten brim. I've eaten crappie. I don't really eat any freshwater fish because they taste like the water they come from. So if you catch a fish in Lanier, it tastes like Lanier.
Right.
When you catch an ocean fish, a blue water ocean fish, it tastes clean because it comes from blue water ocean.
Right.
So that's why river trout tastes better than pond trout, because it's getting a constant supply of fresh water across its gills, therefore into its tissues, because animals taste like what they eat.
Right.
Deer are going to taste more like acorns. If you were to take a farm-raised deer and feed them corn, it's going to taste more like a cow.
Right. You take a deer that was harvested in South Georgia, in and around big giant soybean fields, corn fields, whatever. They're going to taste a whole bunch like beef because they were grain finished.
Right. Just like grass-fed beef tastes different from grain-fed beef.
Oh yeah. So for anybody listening that they're like, oh, I don't like grass-fed beef or I don't like deer or whatever because it tastes gamey, right? It doesn't taste like game; it tastes like meat. But a grass-finished beef tastes different. Because, we like the steaks that you get at Longhorn or whatever your steakhouse of choice.
Jesus, of all the low brow places.
I know, but
I just might mention Golden Corral while you're at it.
Right. Yeah, really. Shh. Dave, your elitistness is showing. But that's what they taste like because they're grain finished, and people are like, "Oh, it tastes gamey." No, it tastes like meat. Go to the grocery store and buy something that is grass fed, and then compare that to your buddy who gives you a half a backstrap from a deer that he harvested, and they'll taste very similar.
Yeah, and back to the story, the reason we like largemouth bass is because the game aspect of it. They jump, they shake, they put on a show. Same reason that I like catching sailfish and billfish, other billfish is, and dolphin. First of all, dolphin tastes delicious. For those that don't know, that's mahi-mahi. But they come out of the water, they jump, they put on a show. It's a challenge to catch them. That's why we like largemouth bass, because they put on a show. They crush the bait that's presented, and then they fight. They put on a show, and it's a game. And the reason there's a limit on there is people, not because they want to eat them, and people do eat them. I mean, people eat carp too. It's because there's an aspect to showing it off, mounting on the wall. I've got a 5, a 7, an 8 pound bass, put it on the wall. That's why there's a limit. There's no racism involved in this. It's this idea that it's okay to kill gar. Well, that's because there are tons of gar. That there's no limit on them. And to add sexism to it, I have no idea how in the hell they threw racism and sexism at it.
Right. And that's kind of my thing with it, is to say that it's racist. It's not racist. Look, you're a guy that came across the pond on a boat in the 1600s, right? You're eating what you can, right? You didn't eat. It wasn't like you rolled across here because you were rich. You may have had enough money to get here, but it's not a racial thing, right? Colonial time people ate what was available to them, and if carp was a predominant species of fish that was available to them, they ate it.
Oh yeah, and the term rough fish comes from when they would net, they wouldn't bother filleting it. They would rough cut it. They would just gut it and throw it in the bottom. And that's I guess that's what poor people ate, is where rough fish came from, was from rough cutting it instead of actually filleting it.
Right.
But they're talking about gar. I don't really want to eat gar. They actually are a pretty good fight. You and I were talking the other day about chain pickerel, which is like a southern pike. The largest, large being 20 inches, unlike pike, which are like 40 inches.
Right.
It's a difference between, I fish for the tug. I like the fight.
Right.
I enjoy catching sailfish. I enjoy catching marlin. I enjoy catching, even fish that I eat. I enjoy the tug. I don't want to. My idea of fishing is not going deep, using an electric reel, dropping down a bait and pulling them up. That's not fishing to me. I enjoy the fight.
There's what is it, black cod or something like that that's up in Alaska that you can only get at like 1,400 feet or something. I would totally do one of those, and the only way to do that is with an electric reel.
Yeah, but the same thing goes for tilefish in the Gulf of Mexico. Same thing goes with daytime sword fishing. You have to get past that 1,000-foot line.
Right.
But not getting, actually, we're going to talk about this in just a second, not getting into too much of the minutia. There are something called electric assist reels where you use the electric motor just to check your baits. But if you actually have a fish on, you disengage the electric motor and fight the fish up.
Right.
But Matt, as we're closing out the show, instead of closing thoughts, let's talk about the new venture you and I have.
Man, I'm super excited about this. Surf and turf.
So Matt and I had the idea of getting absolutely apolitical, outside of the political realm completely. Matt and I are very involved with local politics and state politics. Obviously, we did this show together for quite a while, and Matt's always willing to step in when I'm out or Jessica's out and we need somebody. He's absolutely welcome to come back whenever his life settles down with 15 kids. I don't know when that'll be. But to get outside of that, the idea of surf and turf, I'm an angler. I'm a primarily saltwater fisherman. I've traveled extensively throughout the Americas and somewhat across the globe and chased game fish and absolutely enjoyed it. It's my passion, and Matt is a hunter. And the concept being that Matt's going to cover hunting and what's going on, and Matt being from Montana and the heart of big game hunting country, and I'm from South Florida, the heart of sport fishing country.
Right, we couldn't be further apart if we tried.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, as politics brought us together, we met working on a political campaign.
Right.
And what I wanted to tie it together with is a recipe talking about whatever game we're talking about, or one of the games that we talk about during the show, whether it's elk or it's dolphin or something like that, of one of the ways that we like to prepare it, or we've seen that seem interesting way of preparing that particular game. And I'm looking forward to doing it with you, because you are like super knowledgeable about hunting and all that stuff. And I'm not quite as knowledgeable about fishing as you are about hunting, just because I don't have the opportunity to do as much as you do.
I don't know. I disagree. I mean, look, like you've got, I don't know what, 25 years of experience in saltwater fishing.
40.
All right, so 40.
I mean, they would change my diapers on the boat.
Well, there you go. So, like that's an load of experience.
Quite literally.
So I don't know. I think the concept of the show lends itself well to the idea that while I will participate in saltwater stuff, it's not my main focus. So
as I will, I mean, I'll go to the woods with you.
Right.
It's just not my passion. It's just not what I do. But yeah, if you say, hey, I'm going to the farm this weekend, you want to go with me? Yeah, let's go.
Right. So I think almost every show will seem almost interview-ish in style.
And I've already got some guys lined up on the saltwater side to interview. Guys who are professional guides, folks that I know personally, that I've interacted with at tackle shops and things, especially the northern Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
Guys that I've interacted with in tackle shops, the guides that I've used in Costa Rica and Aruba, and I'm bragging at this point, but the guides that I've interacted with, and you have the same thing on the hunting side with people, the rangers that you've interacted with, especially the guys that you talked to when you went out to Idaho, that were so helpful with, this is where you want to go in. This is the trail you want to follow. This is the sign you're looking for. And this is what we're seeing this time of year.
Right.
And all those guys are super, super helpful. And what's so great about the outdoor community is it's not like we don't compete against each other. We all want each other to win.
Right.
If I see a 2,000 pound marlin come in, I'm not like you SOB. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. What did you use?
Right. Yeah. Where were you?
It's not even where were you. What trolling spread did you use? Were they islanders? What were you using to do that? Were they deep? And these guys are so proud of what they did. They love to talk about it, whether it's inshore speckled trout or if it's offshore marlin. These guys are really proud of what they do, and they're really good at what they do, and they want to talk about it. And I really want to give these guys a voice.
Right.
And this is going to be absolutely apolitical, totally outside of let me tell you why you're wrong. Although the Georgia Virtue is a sponsor of the show. We also have Dobbs Defense, which is a firearms manufacturer, is coming in as a sponsor of the show. So anybody else that wants to come in, we love to highlight your company.
Right. Yeah. No. Totally. No. Like from a food perspective, it's a thing for me because I kind of like it with the various aspects of it, as far as where, like we in you and I discussing it, we're talking about, let's try to line it up with the seasons that are in, right? So, obviously from a hunting perspective, the seasons through the summer and early fall are just nothing. But
from a fishing perspective, June and July we have snapper season, which is, in the northern Gulf of Mexico, is the moneymaker. Going into August, we have triggerfish, gray triggerfish, which is absolutely delicious, and amberjack, which is wonderful on the grill. So we have those seasons. So as fishing starts to turn off a little bit, we start to get into, in fact, again, in the northern Gulf of Mexico, where my boat is, guys actually transition from being fishing guides in September and October to being hunting guides.
Right. Yeah.
So the same guy that took you out to go catch snapper in July, in September will go take you to go kill that monster buck. Right.
It's funny, man. When I was several years ago, when I was out in Montana, we did a snowmobile tour through Yellowstone National Park in like the ass end of January, first part of February. That's what he did. He was in the wintertime. He guided snowmobile trips. In the spring, he was a landscaper. And in the summer, he was a landscaper. But in the fall and the first part of winter, he was a hunting guide. So it like there's a kind of a year-round thing there that we can go, and where the plan is.
And there's a beauty to that.
Oh yeah.
There's a beauty to the guy that lives by the seasons.
Dude, I love it. Like, so, like, it's a guy that, you know, I know we talked about being all apolitical and whatever, but, you know, if things get all crazy with vaccines and whatever else, and you can't do this and you can't show up here and whatever, you know, a guy that can live off the land from season to season, there's a lot to be said for that.
There is. There's also something to be said for somebody who doesn't live their life on Fox News or CNN.
Oh, no doubt.
You could ask him right now who the president is and be like,
Same as
Bush?
Same as the last guy.
Yeah, I mean, Bush, Clinton. I mean, the last debate I saw was 1996, and it was Dole. That Dole guy, is he the same guy that makes the canned pineapples? Yeah, there's a beauty to that that it doesn't matter what happens nationally to him.
Right.
He doesn't care.
Right.
What he's worried about is what happens with the hunting regs, what happens with the fishing regs. There's a pureness to that lifestyle. But Matt, we are way, way long, which we're guilty of doing.
Oh, every time.
But please look for our show coming out. It's going to come out in the next month or so. We're going to set aside time to really get it. The first show is going to be mostly an introduction that listeners here are going to be well aware of who we are.
Right.
But we'll go into a little bit of our outdoor resumes and all that stuff. And then we're going to really get into the meat and potatoes of fishing and hunting and what we do with our quarry. But on that note, for Matt Lowe, our guest and former co-host and hopefully future co-host, for Jessica Szilagyi, who is sitting in a cell in Chatham County, for Eric Cumby, our editor, I'm Dave Roberts. Have a great week.
See y'all next time.